Hi guys, I'm Sam.
And I'm Pete.
And welcome to Go Biking. Hi guys, today we're doing something a little bit different. So about a month ago we had a coaching session with the awesome guys up at Pedal MTB, a place called Coed-y-Brenin in North Wales. And today we're just asking the question, is coaching sessions worth it for the average rider? So yeah, we're going to be chatting about that, telling you a little bit about our experience and hopefully pointing you in the right direction. So Pete, tell us about the day. How did it start?
Yeah, so we arrived at Coed-y-Brenin, got ready, and then met Ed. Sam forgot his shoes, so Sam went shopping to start the day. That's a good way to always go somewhere with a shop so you can buy all the stuff you've forgotten. But then we spent the first part of the morning getting eaten by midges, and mainly around kind of the car park area, and that was great because it was really kind of going through a lot of the basics, undoing things that maybe we were doing badly, and just getting us into kind of the basics of good practice. So like stance on the bike, kind of being upright, heels down, that kind of thing, which I know sounds basic, and maybe for some of you guys it's just things you do, but for so many of us, been riding for a long period of time. I mean, I've been riding mountain bikes since I was about 15, 14, you know, and it's just bad habits, and if someone doesn't tell you,
yeah, absolutely.
you don't do it.
Yeah, so that was pretty much most of the morning really. Like we just focused on stripping back all of the bad habits that we've got and relearning those really basic fundamental parts of riding a bike, standing on it, turning. Like Pete said, looks really boring, but wow, it was so important. And a lot harder than it looks from the outside as well, you know. Once you've got those things ingrained, it's just trying to strip those things back was really difficult. So that was a really, really good part of the day. And once we'd kind of spent that time stripping back those bad habits, we moved on into the skills park area, where we kind of focused on learning some new skills and starting to implement them a bit.
Yeah, so I guess one of the first things we started with was pumping. We'd done a little bit of pumping with Ed, kind of in the car park area, particularly as we were kind of practicing doing bits of manuals and things like that. But then just taking that onto a short bit of trail and just trying to go through there with only pumping. That was a real eye-opener, because I mean, I think Ed's technique for doing pumping was quite different. I was kind of quite exaggerated on the bike, while Ed's was kind of very short and sharp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the difference I felt it made was big. You know, I felt kind of that, particularly if it was just small little features rather than kind of big features which we were pumping on. And then we did a bit of more kind of just rocky kind of tech riding, and he was giving us some tips on that before we went and had a look at a bit of a drop-off, which is one of the things that I'd particularly asked that we could do as part of the coaching session, because it's an area that I felt I particularly wanted to get a little bit more confidence with. So we went and did a couple of different drop-offs, did those a couple of times, and you know, again, I think just having someone tell you what to do and then look at you and kind of say this is what you are actually doing, again, and someone who knows what they're looking for, because you can watch yourself on videos and things like that, but again, someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
As you guys might do, we definitely do it. You'll watch your GMBN videos and your other videos of people teaching you how to do things, and those videos are fantastic resources, but unless you've got someone there who knows what they're doing and can point at you and say, you're not dropping your heels, you're not putting your elbows up, you're not looking where you're going, then it's really hard to actually make proper improvements. But with a coach there, they pick you up on every little thing, and it's so quickly you realise how much you were doing wrong. So that was really invaluable.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where you can film yourself and watch it back, but I just personally I don't see all those little bits and pieces that they are just doing like this. It's really good, because we then went on and did some more cornering, because we'd done some cornering on the flat, which again sounds a little boring, but actually having to be shown how to corner, because you're taking the wrong lines into corners and stuff like that was it felt like quite a big step back, but again was invaluable. But then we took that into some berms, we spent quite a bit of time just practicing a berm going left, and then we went to do one that going right, and we were all putting kind of our foot, the wrong foot down, rather putting the outside foot down. We were then putting it in because we'd kind of ingrained, so kind of making sure you then are kind of applying it across the trail.
I mean, it really pointed out just how much you were unlearning and relearning just by how much you had to think about the way you were moving your body. You know, you going into this berm and thinking, right, is my outside leg down? Have I got my elbows up? Am I looking where I'm going? You know, all things that we thought we were doing, but when you actually think about putting them into practice, was really difficult, and you find yourself getting confused at the simplest thing. So yeah, that was a really invaluable time, a way of just starting to ingrain those new techniques and making sure that they were right. So that was really good. So after spending some time in the skills park and on the berms, we had lunch and then went out on the trail. And that was a really fun afternoon on the trail, actually.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it felt like just going for a ride. And it was a great opportunity just to kind of ride along, have a good chat with Ed, listen to some of his stories, which was a good laugh. And it just felt like going for a ride in some ways. But actually, having him being able to kind of stop on part of the trail and go, you guys ride past, and then give us some feedback on kind of different bits, whether we were doing it right or wrong, whether we were applying what he'd shown us in the morning, or bits where he would ride behind us and give us some feedback, or say, you ride behind me, if we can keep up, and then and watch what he does. And there was just some bits which were really revealing for that, like
with the pumping.
Because he followed me for a section, and he was like, you're pedaling all the time. I haven't pedaled once. All I've done is a few pumps, and I'm keeping up with you, and you're kind of there spinning like a hamster in a wheel. You know? So.
I mean, it just showed how important that skill was, wasn't it? You know, we were literally pedaling, and he was just putting in the tiniest pumps here and there, pumping everything though. You know, it wasn't just about pumping rollers and things. You know, it was like, oh, there's a route with a little transition on the other side of it. There's a dried out puddle, and he'd pump everything, and without hardly any effort, he was carrying about twice the speed we were.
Because we did some other skills stuff in the afternoon, because we stopped at some jumps, which there wasn't stuff in the skills part, so we had a bit of a play on those. And again, I found that useful. And just having someone kind of show you what they do, which was impressive, but I think it was more the side of kind of looking at you and saying, do this or don't do that.
So I think across the day that, you know, we had the chance to strip back our old habits, we had the chance to learn new skills and techniques, and then the afternoon was just fantastic place to apply those skills, which I suppose was the day in total. But that begs the question, was it worth it? And I'm going to say for us, absolutely. But the important thing, I think, is taking it a step further than that coaching and realizing that unless you start to work on these things that you've learned in the coaching session in your riding afterwards, then it's a complete waste of time. Not a complete waste of time. It was a fun day.
It was a fun day out.
But if it's just a fun day, then there's better ways to spend your money. But if you're willing to consolidate and spend the time afterwards practicing those techniques that you've learned, you know, thinking about, am I dropping my foot, you know, am I pumping these little transitions, then it is just probably the best way to spend money on mountain biking.
I mean, certainly, the difference to me, if I went out and bought a new pair of forks, or I spend it on a series of coaching sessions with me putting effort in between those coaching sessions, clearly the coaching would make me a much better mountain biking. The forks, I'd just have a really nice set of forks for which Sam would be jealous of, but it wouldn't make me any faster on the trail, more than likely, would
Absolutely. it? And like you say, you know, as mountain bikers, you know, it's not a cheap sport, and it is very easy to spend money, but if you're going to spend your money, I'd highly recommend spending it on some coaching sessions.
Just put the effort in afterwards to get the benefit out of it. So kind of, because that's what we've been doing since, isn't it? It's kind of, when we've been out riding, it's been like, right, working on some skills, and then we try and chat about it a little bit, don't we? To try and remind them, what did Ed say? You know, that kind of thing, which I think is another tip, actually, is kind of, just because we had the GoPros and we weren't doing lots of filming that day, but we just kind of mainly had them on us, and it's actually quite useful just to be able to go back and just kind of re-listen to some of the bits that Ed was saying about how to do things, particularly particularly the car park stuff more than anything else. So it just allows you to go back and kind of get a reminder of what was said during the day.
Making sure you're not creeping back into those bad habits again, and just consolidating that stuff. So yeah, 100% recommend coaching to anyone who is looking to improve at mountain biking and looking to and willing to put in the effort afterwards. So a huge thank you to the guys at Pedal MTB and to Ed for taking us out that day. It was such a good day, and highly recommend them as a coaching team. So I'm going to put a link below where you can go and check out their website and book your own coaching session if you're interested. And if you've enjoyed this video and any of the other videos on our channel, please do click subscribe, it helps us out. Leave a comment what you want to see, drop us a like. And if you're on social media, you can follow us along, we're there too. So we are at Go Biking MTB on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as well. So yeah, follow us along and become part of the community. Awesome. Thanks very much guys. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.